You've heard it 1,000 times. Just be a good man and the right woman will stay. But what if that's a lie? What if, despite your loyalty, your kindness, your willingness to do everything right, she still walks away? If you've ever found yourself staring at your phone, replaying every moment, wondering what you did wrong, this video is for you. Because the truth is, millions of men are living through the same silent heartbreak, trapped by advice that sounds noble, but leaves them powerless. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Being a good man isn't a guarantee of love, loyalty, or respect. In fact, it might be the very thing that's working against you. Mainstream self-help tells you to be gentle, to always put her first, to never rock the boat. But what if that's exactly why you're being left behind? Today, we're tearing up the rulebook. We're diving into the forbidden side of attraction, the Machiavellian secrets that most people are too afraid to admit. If you're ready to see the world as it really is, not as you wish it to be, keep watching. Because what you're about to learn will change everything you thought you knew about relationships. Let's start by exposing the myth that's been drilled into your head since childhood. The idea that being a good man is the ultimate key to romantic success. Think about the messages you've absorbed from movies, family, and even social media. You're told to be dependable, selfless, always available, and endlessly forgiving. You're taught that if you just treat her right, she'll never leave. But here's the hidden truth. This definition of a good man is not only outdated, it's dangerously incomplete. Society's version of the good man is a safe bet. He's the guy who never says no, who sacrifices his own needs, who bends over backward to keep the peace. He's praised for his predictability and his willingness to put others first. But beneath the surface, something insidious is happening. When you make yourself too available, too accommodating, you become predictable, and predictability is the enemy of desire. The very traits that earn you praise from the outside. World can quietly erode attraction from the inside. Here's what no one tells you. Women, like all humans, are wired to respond to challenge, to mystery, to a sense of earned value. When you're always there, always agreeable, you remove the very tension that keeps relationships alive. You become less of a partner and more of a background character in your own story. The good man myth sets you up to be taken for granted, overlooked, or even resented for your lack of boundaries. Contrast this with the men who seem to effortlessly command respect and attention. They're not cruel or manipulative, but they don't apologize for having standards. They know when to say no. They're not afraid to walk away if their needs aren't met. This isn't about being a jerk. It's about understanding that self-respect is magnetic, while self-sacrifice is often invisible. So why does society keep pushing the good man narrative? Because it's safe. It keeps everyone comfortable. But comfort is not the same as attraction. And safety is not the same as desire. If you want to break free from the cycle of confusion and heartbreak, you have to be willing to question everything you've been taught. Next, we'll uncover the hidden laws of power that shape every relationship, whether you realize it or not. If you want to understand why women leave good men, you have to look beneath the surface, into the realm of power. Machiavelli, the master of strategy, understood that every relationship is a subtle game of influence, negotiation, and leverage. While society tells you to avoid power games, the truth is, they're happening all the time, whether you acknowledge them or not. Attraction isn't just about compatibility or shared values. It's about energy, tension, and the constant dance of give and take. Machiavelli's first law in relationships is simple. Never surrender all your power. When you give up your boundaries, your ambitions, or your sense of self to please someone else, you become less attractive, not more. Power isn't about domination. It's about maintaining your own center, your own gravity, so that others are drawn to you rather than repelled by your neediness. Unpredictability is another Machiavellian principle that most good men ignore. Predictability breeds comfort. but comfort breeds complacency. When every move is anticipated, when every emotion is on display, the relationship loses its spark. Machiavelli would say, "Never let anyone know your next move." In relationships, this means keeping a part of yourself reserved, maintaining a sense of mystery, and never becoming so transparent that you're taken for granted. Self-interest is not selfishness, it's survival. If you don't prioritize your own growth, your own goals, you become a shadow of the person your partner was initially attracted to. Machiavelli teaches that those who neglect their own interests for the sake of others eventually lose both themselves and the respect of those they're trying to please. The paradox is that by putting yourself first, not in a narcissistic way, but in a self-respecting way, you actually become more attractive, more magnetic, and more powerful. These laws operate quietly, beneath the surface of every relationship. Most people never see them, but they feel their effects. The slow erosion of desire, the shift in power, the growing sense of dissatisfaction. If you want to avoid the fate of the good man who gets left behind, you need to master these laws, not just in theory, but in practice. Next, we'll dive into the psychological triggers that fuel attraction and why goodness alone is never enough to keep desire alive. Let's get brutally honest. Attraction isn't logical, and it certainly isn't fair. You can be the nicest guy in the world, but if you don't understand the hidden triggers of desire, you'll always be left wondering why she lost interest. Here's the dark truth. What keeps desire alive isn't just kindness or reliability. It's a cocktail of psychological triggers that most men never even realize they're missing. First, there's the power of unpredictability. When you're always available, always saying yes, you become a known quantity, safe but uninspiring. Desire thrives on uncertainty. It's the unanswered text, the unexpected compliment, the sense that you have a life outside the relationship. This isn't about playing games. It's about maintaining your own identity and not making her the center of your universe. When she senses that you have options, ambitions, and boundaries, her attraction intensifies. Second, challenge is essential. Despite what you've been told, women don't want a man who agrees with everything they say or does everything they ask. They want someone who stands his ground, who has his own opinions, and who isn't afraid to push back when necessary. This creates a dynamic tension, a spark that keeps things exciting. If you're always agreeable, you become boring. If you challenge her in a respectful way, you become unforgettable. Third, emotional self-control is magnetic. When you're able to manage your emotions, especially under stress, you project strength and stability. This doesn't mean being cold or distant, but it does mean not falling apart or becoming needy when things get tough. Women are drawn to men who can weather storms without losing their composure. It signals that you're reliable, but not in a way that's dull or predictable, in a way that's strong and quietly confident. Finally, there's the element of earned value. When you make her work for your attention and affection, when you don't give everything away for free, you become a prize, not a consolation. This flips the script on the good man myth. It's not about withholding love, but about making sure your love is valued. These triggers aren't about manipulation. They're about understanding human nature. Next, we'll look at real-world stories that reveal how these hidden forces play out and why so many good men never see it coming. Let's bring these hidden dynamics to life with real stories. Scenarios that play out every day, often in silence, leaving good men blindsided and confused. These aren't just hypotheticals. They're the lived experiences of countless people who thought they were doing everything right. Take Mark, for example. Mark was the textbook definition of a good guy. Attentive, generous, always putting his girlfriend's needs before his own. He never argued, never raised his voice, and made it his mission to keep her happy. For a while, things seemed perfect. But slowly, his girlfriend started to pull away. She became distant, irritable, and eventually ended things with the classic line, "You're amazing, but I just don't feel it anymore." Mark was devastated. He replayed every moment, searching for what he did wrong, never realizing that his constant availability and lack of boundaries had quietly drained the relationship of excitement and respect. Or consider Alex, who prided himself on being the safe choice. He was always there, always supportive, never challenging his partner's opinions or decisions. His girlfriend at first loved the stability, but over time, she found herself drawn to someone else, a man who was confident, a little mysterious, and unafraid to disagree. Alex's predictability, once comforting, became suffocating. She left, not because he was bad, but because he was too good in all the wrong ways. Then there's Sam, who believed that love meant sacrifice. He gave up his hobbies, his friends, even his career ambitions, to make his girlfriend the center of his world. She said she wanted a man who would put her first, but when Sam did exactly that, she lost interest. She missed the man she first fell for, the one with passion, drive, and a life of his own. These stories aren't about blaming women or shaming men. They're about exposing the invisible forces that shape attraction and drive people apart. The truth is, being perfect on paper isn't enough. If you lose your edge, your boundaries, or your sense of self, you risk losing her interest, no matter how good your intentions. Next, we'll reveal the Machiavellian strategies that can make you truly irreplaceable, so you never have to play the role of the forgotten good man again. Now that you've seen how the good man myth can sabotage your relationships, it's time to flip the script. Machiavellian wisdom isn't about manipulation or cruelty. It's about understanding the real rules of the game and playing to win, not just to participate. If you want to become truly irreplaceable, you need to master a set of strategies that most men never even consider. Here's how you do it, without losing your integrity or becoming someone you're not. First, cultivate selective availability. One of the most powerful Machiavellian moves is to never be fully accessible. This doesn't mean playing childish games or ghosting people. It means having a life that's full and rich outside of your relationship. When you're always available, you signal that you have nothing else going on. But when you're busy pursuing your passions, goals, and friendships, you become a person of value, someone whose time and attention are earned, not given away freely. This creates a sense of scarcity, and scarcity breeds value. Second, set and enforce boundaries. Machiavelli understood that power is maintained by drawing clear lines, knowing what you will and won't tolerate. In relationships, this means communicating your needs and expectations, and not being afraid to walk away if they're consistently ignored. Boundaries aren't walls, they're standards. When you respect yourself enough to enforce them, others will respect you too. Ironically, this makes you more attractive, not less, because it shows you're not desperate for approval. Third, embrace strategic unpredictability. Predictability is comforting, but it's also boring. To keep attraction alive, you need to introduce a little uncertainty, a sense that you're not entirely figured out. This could be as simple as surprising your partner with a spontaneous date, or as subtle as not always revealing your thoughts and plans. The goal isn't to be deceptive, but to maintain an air of mystery. When people can't predict your every move, they stay engaged and invested. Fourth, invest in your own growth. The most magnetic people are those who are constantly evolving. Whether it's advancing your career, learning new skills, or pursuing creative projects, never stop improving yourself. This not only boosts your confidence, but it also ensures that your partner sees you as someone who's going places, a person they want to be around for the journeys. Self-development is the ultimate Machiavellian strategy because it makes you valuable in every area of life. Finally, practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean being cold or unfeeling, but it does mean not making your happiness entirely dependent on another person. When you can enjoy your partner's company without needing their constant validation, you project strength and independence. This is deeply attractive because it signals that you're with them by choice, not out of desperation. These strategies aren't about playing games. They're about playing smart. When you combine selective availability, strong boundaries, unpredictability, self-growth, and emotional detachment, you become the kind of man who's not just good, but unforgettable. Next, we'll explore the mindset shift required to truly embody these principles and transform from merely good to genuinely powerful. Everything starts in the mind. You can memorize strategies and repeat clever lines, but if you don't shift your core beliefs, you'll always fall back into old patterns. The real transformation happens when you stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to earn love by being good and start seeing yourself as someone who naturally attracts respect and desire by being powerful. This isn't about arrogance or domination. It's about reclaiming your sense of self-worth and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. The first step is to let go of the need for external validation. Most good men are secretly addicted to approval. They measure their worth by how happy they can make others, especially their partners. But here's the truth. When your self-esteem depends on someone else's opinion, you hand them all your power. The powerful man, on the other hand, draws his confidence from within. He knows his value, with or without anyone's praise. Next, embrace the discomfort of setting boundaries and saying no. If you've spent your life avoiding conflict, this will feel unnatural at first. But every time you assert yourself, you reinforce your own importance. You teach others how to treat you, not by what you tolerate, but by what you demand. This is the foundation of true respect, both from others and from yourself. Another crucial shift is to see relationships as a partnership of equals, not a rescue mission. You're not there to save anyone or to be saved. You're there to share your life with someone who matches your standards and ambition. When you approach love from a place of abundance, not desperation, you become magnetic. People sense when you're whole on your own, and that's when they want to be part of your world. Finally, commit to lifelong growth. The powerful man is never finished. He's always evolving, always learning, always pushing his limits. This mindset not only keeps you attractive, it keeps you fulfilled, no matter what happens in your relationships. This is the mindset shift that separates the forgotten from the unforgettable. In the final section, we'll bring it all together and challenge you to choose your path. Will you stay in the dark or step into your power? You've just uncovered the uncomfortable truths that most people will never dare to face. We've shattered the myth of the good man, exposed the hidden laws of power that shape every relationship, and revealed the psychological triggers that keep desire alive. You've seen real stories of men who lost everything by following the rules, and you've learned the Machiavellian strategies that can make you truly irreplaceable. But here's the thing. Knowledge alone changes nothing. The real difference comes from action. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. You can keep doing what you've always done, hoping that being nice, agreeable, and endlessly available will finally pay off. Or you can choose the path of power. You can start setting boundaries, cultivating mystery, investing in your own growth, and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about unlocking the version of yourself that's been buried under years of bad advice and self-doubt. The choice is yours. Will you stay in the dark, repeating the same mistakes, or will you step into the light and master the game? If you're ready to claim your power, drop a comment below with the biggest insight you gained from this video. Share your own story, because your experience could be the wake-up call someone else needs. And if you want more forbidden knowledge and real-world strategies, make sure to subscribe and join this community of thinkers and doers. Remember, in the world of relationships, it's not the good who win, it's the powerful, the self-respecting, the irreplaceable, Which will you choose to be? Thanks for watching.